Hi there, we're Bob and Holly from Innocents Abroad, and we're nearly complete with our first expedition cruise on Seabourn Venture.
This was our last landing today. We're leaving Deception Island in the South Shetland Islands. Our cruise was a 29 itinerary, and actually 21, but the first night was a hotel in Buenos Aires. Included a charter, and once we got underway, 20 nights sailing, and we're on 17, right? We have 3 more nights after tonight. Visiting all kinds of different places in the Falkland Islands and some wondrous sights in Antarctica, and we'll talk about the itinerary in just a little bit. Seabourn Venture is an expedition ship. Expedition cruising can be very different from ocean-going vessels.
Even on a luxury cruise line, it's a very specialized experience.
Since this was an expedition ship, there were several key features that were different. There was a mudroom where basically either side of a landing you change into and out of boots that were provided. You didn't have to bring your own. It's also a place that, due to the environmental concerns, you cleaned your boots in a solution before going ashore and after coming back.
Passengers are divided into 6 color groups. It maintains control of how many passengers go ashore at a time. It also rotates, so not everybody goes first all the time. All the transfers are done via Zodiac boat, and it's quite fun and exhilarating, but it's, you gotta have your wits about you.
The expedition team are all about safety. Education, of course, they're all about safety, so there's always 1 or 2 or 4 expedition team members helping to get you in and out of the Zodiac boats. Even the most able-bodied people are going to need help changing heights, especially when the Zodiac boat is moving. Another key feature are the submarines. Unlike Viking, however, Viking cruises, Seabourn charged for their use. At time of recording, $1,000 for a dive. It's quite a bit of money, but that doesn't take away from their fun.
There are 2 main dining venues available. There's a restaurant, which is the main dining room, that offers table service for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Kind of an inventive name, isn't it? A restaurant. Just saying.
There's also the Colonnade, which provides a more casual atmosphere. You have a buffet breakfast and usually a themed lunch buffet, but in the evening you can do a casual table service with a limited menu, but it's also themed as well.
One of the things Seabourn does is extend invitations to dine at a given table. Some cruise lines do that, but we've been fortunate to be on multiple cruise lines, and Seabourn seems to do it with a greater frequency. Over the course of 20 nights, or 17 to date, we've been invited to eat with the cruise director, several members of the expedition team, as well as some of the guest entertainers. And that's always nice to chat with them and kind of see where they're coming from.
The ship also has 2 locations for light bites and beverages throughout the day. The Bow Lounge provides a self-service coffee and tea area and breakfast pastries in the morning, and soup and sodas and other light bites throughout the day.
One of the holdovers from Seabourn's ocean-going ships, and another place to get light bites, is Seabourn Square. Seabourn Square is essentially a coffee shop, and also has, as is typical on other Seabourn ships, also houses guest services and the future cruise person.
There are several bars and lounges on board. The Explorer's Lounge is sort of the hub of the ship. It's a meeting place prior to Zodiac landings, as well as a bar that people gather right before the briefing and any other shows in the evening. Constellation Lounge is a multi-purpose room where they have entertainment in the evening, tapas before dinner. It's a great place to just sit during the day and watch the world go by.
Constellation Lounge is essentially a forward observation lounge, but it is a really neat place for entertainment, especially in the evening. The club, located on deck 9 aft, is what you'd expect. It's a nighttime evening lounge, and it's a pretty quiet place during the day. A lot of the entertainers would go up there at night into wee hour, like 1 a.m., or maybe later, and after 6 p.m. it also served a dual purpose as a sushi bar. At the back of the club were a couple of hot tubs.
Which is approaching off the port side of the ship, Whalers Bay, which is a
Whalers Bay.
Whalers Bay.
Captured sparrows
outside the club were 2 hot tubs, and a bar. But in Antarctica, I never saw them used. The outdoor section of the colony also has a bar, and we had a few lunches out there, so that it was never too cold.
Although the primary focus on the cruise is expedition, there is a small entertainment contingent on board. There is a guitarist, a pianist, and duo also. The cruise director is also an opera singer that
Phenomenal.
Yeah, great concerts from him. And we also had a guest entertainer on board as well.
The Discovery Center is the heart of the ship. It's the most used venue by far. One of its functions is to house evening entertainment, which can include movies and live performances, but its primary function, far and away, are for the evening briefings. Generally about 6:30 p.m., almost every single night, there is a recap of the day's activities, analysis of what we saw, briefings from several of the expedition team members on their specialties. Sorry, British friends, specialities. And also a look forward to the following day. Departure times, zodiacs, tours, whatever you do go ashore based on your color, you'll get to find that out the night before. If you miss the briefing, you can always watch a recap of it on your stateroom television.
The spa area on board is rather small. They do have a couple of treatment areas and an indoor sauna, as well as a hair and nail salon.
Finally, the room. We were in a veranda suite. The lowest category there is a V1. Absolutely spacious, perfect. Had about 350 square feet, and we were very, very comfortable. There are several other grades, panoramic, verandas, owner suites, different categories of rooms, same category as this, but in different locations. Can't fault it whatsoever. Plenty of power. Continental Europe plugs, 110 volt North American plugs, quite a bit of choice, a USB. So we didn't lack for power, which is always a good thing. It also had a drying closet, so when you came back from landing and you were personal gear or anything, when you were soaked, and you were gonna be soaked on multiple occasions, at least wet, it worked well. You put your clothes in there, press a button, and overnight it's dry. It's extremely effective. Next, let's talk a little bit about the itinerary. We went to the Falkland Islands, as well as spending about a week and a half on the Antarctic continent, which was great. Originally, we were also going to include South Georgia, but due to some mechanical issues with the ship's stabilizers, it was felt by the expedition team and the captain that we couldn't make that journey. So what we sacrificed by missing South Georgia, we made up for by an extra 4 or 5 days on the Antarctic continent, and I can't complain about that.
We had several stops in the Falkland Islands, New Island, West Point, Stanley. We got to visit several rookeries, which were concentrations of penguins where they nested and fed their chicks, and
Lots and lots of penguin overload and albatross birds.
yes, albatross
Falklands were
birds.
amazing for bird watching.
Yes. One of my favorites was the Bluff Cove, where the actual was on a beach, so you could watch the penguins walk down the sand and just dive into the surf. It was quite special.
Kind of waddling around like me. Yeah. Penguins are my spirit animals, I think.
They were so much fun to watch. Then we moved on to Antarctica, the continent itself. We went to Blind Bay. We actually got to go below the Arctic Circle,
Way below.
which was, I guess, the southernmost location that a Carnival cruise ship has ever gone. So
Well,
that was-
not the Antarctic Circle per se, but 66 degrees south and change. But this ship happened to go much farther because of the extra time. We went to just below 69 degrees, or really close to it, 69 south, really, really far south, and saw things that, as she said, no Carnival Corporation ship has ever been this far south. And many regular cruise ships that do sail-wise have never been anywhere close to this area. We were disappointed about missing South Georgia, but glass half full. There was plenty to take out of it that we ordinarily would not have seen.
I thought it was really special as we got to actually crack through the pack ice, and we were able to actually walk off the ship onto ice and see the ship from a very unique angle.
And by dumb luck, our escorts.
Right, as soon as we all started piling out of the ship, there was 3 little Gentoo penguins that just came waddling up and
How you doing?
just checking things out.
Let me-
It's like, they're very curious, it was just so much fun. And as soon as we all started getting back on the ship, they toddled off.
The penguins were cute, and there is a 5 meter by law standoff, about 16 feet. So we were very diligent about maintaining that. If the penguins, however, are curious and want to come up to you, you're supposed to back out of the way. And that brings me to penguin highways. Love penguin highways. They're just, the deeper they are, the more traveled they've been. The browner they are, the more traveled they've been. But it's just, it's hard to explain. It's a bit of a cliche that pictures don't do it justice. The film you're about to watch in our series, diligently put together, et cetera, but you have to be here. You just have to be here. Sun's breaking out as we're about to clear Deception Island, which brings up another interesting point. Time of recording, this is, well, it's New Year's Eve 2022, and I only date this video to make the distinction that it's pretty much the height of summer, and except for snow on Christmas Eve, we've had extremely good luck. It's cold. It's probably 0 Celsius, 32 Fahrenheit right now, give or take, maybe a degree or 2 above that. Sunny and partially cloudy skies. It's not a snowstorm. It's just dumb luck. You can't expect that every time this time of year, summer or not. It's often snowy, but it's an amazing time. Come prepared for cold, snowy weather, and feel blessed if you get days like this.
We also had the opportunity to visit several abandoned and active bases and stations around different islands in the Antarctic. There were research and atmospheric, scientific. It was very interesting. A lot of them, the ones that have been abandoned, they are maintained by a trust, a UK trust, that keeps them maintained so that people can visit to see what life is like on a station or base in the Antarctic.
I think one of the last bases we went to, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was Port Lockroy. Now, there are 4 people there from the British Antarctic Survey stationed at any one time. They are not winter overs, as you may have heard the term. They usually spend about 4.5 months here from November through March, November through February, something like that. But the interesting thing about Port Lockroy, in addition to the post office that it has, you can get your own stamps there, it's kind of amazing. They also are the ones, the headquarters, if you will, the hub, for maintaining different Heritage Trust sites.
The key thing to remember about expedition cruising is flexibility. Things change rapidly, daily, sometimes by the hour, just depending on sea conditions or weather or wind. You just never know, so you have to be prepared at all times to just grab and go. All the landings are done via the Zodiac, and you have to have weatherproof, waterproof gear that you just basically jump out of a Zodiac into the water to get on shore. They provide the rubber boots, which are an absolute must.
The neat thing about that, as far as Seabourn's concerned, well, the neat thing about that period, which Seabourn make easy, is that they provide the boots. They're lent, they're not given, but they're bulky, they're comfortable, but it's something you don't have to pack and worry about in your luggage. You're going to be bringing enough cold weather gear down here to begin with, not having to worry about acquiring boots and transporting them. Big space saver. Overall, Antarctica was a great experience. We'd absolutely do it again. And our priority personally is to go to South Georgia first. If we can include Antarctica, we will, and we'll bring that to you as soon as we can get down there again. The expedition team were phenomenal. The detail about what you're going to see, from birds, sea life, all manner of history around the different stations, the rocks, nothing is taken for granted. It really is a great place. If you come on this ship or its successor, Seabourn Pursuit, they have a venue, I think Holly's already mentioned, called the Bow Lounge. Go up there, play with the gear, look at the maps, talk to the expedition team during any given sail in or sail by. It's amazing. They are absolutely great sources of information.
They are so patient, they'll answer all your questions, and they love sharing information.
The full schedule for our vlog series, which will run about 10 or 11 parts, including a ship tour and a room tour, will be available in the item description of this video and in each successive video. But expect the first run episodes to be around mid-January 2023 through the end of March. Have a look in the item description to see where we're going and when.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.